Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is John. I'm a full-time eBay reseller based in Melbourne, Australia. We're in the basement because this is where it all started 1 year ago. That's right, this channel is 1 year old and I wanted to do a video to just reflect on the journey that's gone by. It's not going to be a video where I just talk to you and show you a bunch of clips. No, it's going to be one of those videos where there'll be plenty of takeaways from the journey, things I've learned. And as with all meaningful endeavors, it's not about the checkpoints, but the journey of how you get there and the person you have become along the way. So the boring bits first. At this point, there are 3,440 YouTube subscribers and 430 Instagram followers. That blows my mind, and I find that humbling and encouraging because when I think about those people in a room, if I got the chance to speak and those people have some sort of interest in listening, that's pretty humbling. I don't treat that number lightly, nor do I track that number as a measure of some sort of validation thing, ego thing, because at the end of the day, I never did this channel to have those numbers, and I didn't do this channel to make bucket loads of money. My dream was never to be a YouTuber, and it still isn't. The only reason I took on the YouTube project was because Jason said, give it a shot, people will give, if you like giving back to the community, this is a good way to do so. And as a parent, I always knew that social media would either be viewed as a tool or a threat in every household that had kids. I wanted to be a parent that understood social media. I wanted to understand how the business worked. And so that project was quite timely. Do the project, see if you can monetize the channel, assess the process of how to get there. And hopefully in the future, if your kids or their friends want to do it, they have someone that they can talk to, that they can trust, who can talk them through, years of experience. So this is year one of what is essentially a 10-year project for me. I feel like if I can do this for 10 years, sustainably, make some sort of an income, regardless of what the number is, I'm able to at least provide advice to other kids who want to consider doing it down the line. So that was my main motive. So to that end, the channel monetized in under a year. That surprised me. I was expecting 2 to 3 years at minimum, because once again, I came into a very saturated space. I didn't expect there to be any sort of traction, let alone good traction. I definitely wasn't expecting to be known that early as well. I thought I'd just kind of operate in obscurity for a little bit, maybe get an odd mention here and there. But for those of you who have been part of the channel for even the last 3 months, this channel doesn't feel like a new channel anymore. And that is both encouraging but also heavy, because it's a responsibility now. You guys come here for value, and I'm now responsible for delivering that value. I'm honored, but things definitely have moved faster than I expected. This feels like the most natural place to sit and talk about the year that's gone by. And I want it to feel deep, because it is, and I don't take any of it lightly. I even wrote notes. I normally don't write notes. I normally just rattle off what's on my mind, what's on my heart. But this milestone has felt important enough that I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything, So here I go. Looking back, I was self-conscious, aiming for that perfect delivery. I would do single takes because I didn't want to spend time editing. That was real. I wanted the project, but I didn't really, if that makes sense. I mean, there are people who start YouTube and do it because they really want to, and they get criticized for being YouTubers first instead of resellers. I'm the opposite. I didn't think YouTube would be worth my time. And to be honest, it's a lot harder to make money on YouTube than it is reselling. Sure, if you make it big, there's a lot more money you can make as a YouTuber than as a reseller. But the number of people who qualify for that position as high-income YouTubers is so much smaller. So for example, you can make $1 million reselling. You can also make $1 million YouTubing. But the number of people who will for YouTube, significantly less than reselling. And so when I entered into this project, I didn't think that I didn't think that I would become a YouTuber. In fact, Jenny asked me, is this another one of those career changes? I said, no, this is very much a project. It will remain a project. It will remain on the side. And whatever impact it has, it has. So anyways, I did not intend to do multi-edited things, different cuts here and there. Funny I should say that, right? A year on, and this is one of the cuts in a reflection video. And I did single takes, didn't want to do multiple edits, but ended up learning the skill of doing a single take quite well. Videos that would go for 10 minutes only took 15 minutes to record, which I was pretty impressed by. I didn't realize how fast my brain talks and how poorly my mouth keeps up. That was an interesting discovery. The fact that I would say something and it would just go, blah, blah. And I stuttered a lot too. I didn't realize that I do that. I would say something like, when, or like, and I didn't realize I did that until I watched myself back. It's weird when you record something and people say, you sound different when you listen back to yourself. And most people that you talk about listening back to yourself, they will react like, oh yeah, I've never done that before, because very few people do. We are more interested in conveying meaning. The listener receives meaning, and if that meaning is conveyed and received, and we are able to figure out a next step forward, the communication has done the job. We very seldom reflect on how we actually sound. So needing to watch back however many videos of myself over the last year, I've learned a lot about how fast my brain thinks and how slow my mouth keeps up. So that in itself has been an improvement, which I'm very grateful for. With reselling, when I think of a category and I start selling in that category, I already more or less know my capacity matching with, how much I can process, to how much I can sell, to how much profit that would look like. I have an idea of where I will find the stock. With YouTube, no idea. All I know is the internet is this vast place. Everybody in the world has access to me. How they find me, how the algorithm pushes me in front of other people, what needs I meet. I had no concept whatsoever. So it was a case of just go forth and see. And what I have learned is that no matter how positive you are or negative you are, how pretty you are or ugly you are, how reserved you are or loud you are, you will always find a place on the internet. That's the beauty of the internet. When I started YouTube, I would watch videos of people saying, oh, you gotta have an it factor, you gotta have a thing that makes you special and unique. And it's funny to hear that, because most people who don't have a strong sense of worth, they hear that it factor and their immediate response is, I don't have it. They doubt themselves. It's not a question of, do I have it? It's a question of, I don't have it. It becomes a statement of, I don't have it. I've never believed that. And I refuse to believe that, because I don't think that I'm that bad. I do not think I'm such a horrible person that nobody would like me. And therefore, on principle, putting myself out into the internet would only mean that I'm more likely to find people who like me, rather than be told even more that I am unlikable. And so, in a sense, that made the venture feel safe. It's like eventually I will find, rather than I wonder if I will find people who get along with me, like what I have to say, like to interact with me, and whom I enjoy interacting with. The it factor really isn't that much of an it factor. Obviously, it's only been a year, but what it comes down to is consistency. I've come to realize that people don't value you for an instant. They value you for a consistency. If you are consistently showing up, in my case, 336 videos in 365 days. Wait, maybe more than that. 340 videos. What's the number? I lost track. 342 videos in 365 days. That's consistent from my end. I wanted you guys to get to know me. And somehow the sum of that parts equates to some sort of an ick factor for those of you who subscribe to this channel. And I do not take that for granted. I believe that God made us all unique. And to some extent, part of giving of ourselves to the world and giving of ourselves to whatever community we live in, we owe it to that community to be transparent, to be genuine, to share not just the good, but also the ugly, and to do that on a consistent basis, unstaged, unset up. Those of you who have followed me for the last year you have seen me happy, you have seen me giddy, you've also seen me frustrated, upset, you've seen me sick, tired, you've seen me through the lens of business owner, husband, father, school parent, brother, son, man, as a male. You've seen me through all those lenses, and it has been an honor to share that with you. The more lenses we allow ourselves to be seen through, the more we realize that there is no end to sharing who we are, because we are such complex people. We are deep. No one label sums us up. I know that there's constantly this pressure to be on brand, to only show one side, because that simplifies us. You are the seller, you are funny, or you are sexy, or you are ultimately easily monetizable. It is very hard to monetize something complex, but it's complexity that attracts fellow human beings. So that brings me to the next thing that this channel has taught me a lot about. It's the fact that I don't want this channel to be, this badge of honor that I wear that pays me a lot of money, that gives me celebrity status. I have no desire for that. I don't desire to have that kind of attention. But what I do desire from this channel over the last year is to connect with more complex people, or people, in short. We are all complex. I've learned through the live streams that being a reseller is not easy. It's a very lonely journey, and being lonely is very hard. I've learned that all of us desire support, even if that is through connection, however that may come across, with like-minded individuals. It's one thing to know that what you do makes money. It's another thing to know that when you face a challenging patch in that journey of making money, that you are seen and that you are validated beyond your performance. A lot of us who do this on the side do this after a full-time job, after being a full-time mom or dad. And sometimes we need to know that it's okay to feel tired, and it's okay to feel worn and drained and run down. That it's okay to be broken from time to time because you're just working too hard. Building this community has given not just me, but a lot of you guys that support. And I want that to continue in year 2, 3, and for however long this community exists, which I hope is forever. When thinking about legacy, not money, you build things differently. This channel is not about money. I keep saying that it's not. Money helps. You guys buying me coffee, the super chats, the stickers, the ad revenue, those of you who watch my videos and don't skip the ads, All that helps the channel to grow. You need resource. But that's not the focus. The videos are not made for that purpose. It's for connection, purely for connection. Every video I ask myself, what side of me have you not seen that will be of value to you, that will convey meaning, that will show depth? Me jumping around like a silly monkey to me talking about something deep, talking about a time that I did not feel supported by my family when I started selling on eBay full time. All of that is meaningful. I don't jump around because I do it for the attention. I jump around because I never could do that when I was working in a professional job. I couldn't do that when I had mortgage brokering clients who needed me to be professional. The mohawk, the jumping around, all that kind of stuff means a lot to me because this journey has brought me to this place where I feel my freest. I feel most myself. I grew up watching parents tell their kids, and my parents told me because they had jobs that were professional. They had an image to uphold, understandably. Don't do this, don't do that, sit properly, just be square. And I struggled with that growing up. And surprise, surprise, I have 2 kids who are absolutely childlike as they should be. And as a dad, I can allow that to continue. I can allow them to lean into that childlikeness rather than take it away from them. We live in a time where commentators will look at children and say, if we can educate them differently, it is not to parent the creativity out of them, but to allow them to channel it somehow all the way through to adulthood. All of us were born creative, but somehow we find ourselves as grown-ups going, you're creative, I'm not normally creative. Why is that? And so, while some of you might say, hey John, you're creative, you're a creative person, you're capable of creative things. Well, if you lean into the creative freedom enough, you'll be surprised what nonsense you can come up with. And funny, right? We label it nonsense, but it also makes us smile. So is that really a bad thing? If nonsense makes you smile, and you don't know how else to smile, if making money at your job does not make you smile, if coming home to a challenging marriage, if coming home to a messy home does not make you smile, but nonsense does, is nonsense really a bad thing? And could we maybe have a bit more of it? Ultimately, there needs to be meaning in everything we do. If not, then what's the point of doing it? Being a reseller, I've come to realize that just earning money is not enough. Having status is not enough. And by not enough, it's not a case of more or more or more or more or more of. There needs to be a deep and meaningful thing. There needs to be deep meaning that corresponds with the effort so that we feel whole, so that we feel fulfilled in what we do. And so that's going to be the mission of this channel, right? In building this community around reselling and potentially in the future around side hustling and trying things that you have always wanted to try in the hope that it will better your circumstance. One of the anchors is searching for meaning. What meaning does it actually mean for you? Well, if we compare based on numbers alone, we will always say that person is bigger than me, I'm behind that person. But if we look at meaning and we go, this little reselling business that is little in numbers, little in size, but it fits just right for me, and this is what makes me feel whole, that's enough. And that's what this channel aims to affirm. And to help you, I suppose, in whatever endeavor you wish to go along, that however size, however scale, however dollars you make, that you can do it sustainably. So there's meaning, and to do it sustainably, it's business principles. And learning those principles matched with that meaning means that what you start, you can continue and keep going. Kind of like this channel. Over this past year, I've shared with you from my heart. I've shared topics as they came to mind spontaneously, and I've also sat down and planned out topics by the week. I've done collaborations with other resellers, being guests on their channel, as well as having them come onto my channel. I've done reaction videos on other reseller videos. I've put out short clips, funny ones, as well as time lapses of my day. I've done long versions of my day, as well as long drive and dive videos. Most importantly, I've connected with you via the listing live streams. Did you know that every session we see between 700 to 900 chat messages be exchanged between you guys and myself regarding how we can make reselling better, more fun, why it's challenging, how to make it less challenging. Sometimes just listening to all the challenges that get shared, because the fact is some things can't be fixed overnight. We're connecting, we're finding meaning in what we do. You guys tell me I list more, I sell more, I feel more organized, and that's the point. I really hope that this format stays, because out of all the different formats I've tried this year, this format has been the one that has led to the most change, has led to the most good. And so thank you so much, those of you who have participated in the listing live streams and intend to continue doing so. And for those of you who have been thinking about giving it a go, I seriously hope that you'll come join us, because I personally want to see 100 of us in each session, but of course, that's just more for me to see that number and go, ooh. In reality though, it's a great format, because those who come do work, and those who come without much work to do still find connection and find perspective that ends up being helpful for the week ahead. We do 2 sessions, Tuesday and Friday, one for the nighttime, one for the daytime. I've learned that you, my community, are very generous with your time, turning up to these live streams and participating. I've also learned that you're very generous with your finances. For those of you who have bought me, a super chat, super sticker, bought me coffee, I thank you so much. I appreciate you supporting this channel financially, because we need resources. Without resources, things don't grow. And I don't take that for granted at all. At the start of this whole YouTube project, I definitely did not expect anyone to listen or subscribe to the channel, but people have. I then did not expect people to say that I've never heard that perspective before, or I've never heard anybody say that before. That's been said to me. As far as I'm concerned, there's nothing new under the sun. Everything's been said before, everything's been shared before. But what I have learned to appreciate though, is that the way life works is, we can hear the same thing over and over again, but until a circumstance makes something relevant, we don't register it. And for that to happen, it's very much a case of 2 paths crossing, your path crossing with mine, and whilst others may have tried to add value the same way in the past, your paths have not crossed, but for some reason, your paths have crossed with mine, and I don't take that for granted. And it humbles me to know that at the time of me creating a channel and saying something that I think is of value, you've actually gotten that value as well. The other thing I've learned personally for me is that when I transitioned from mortgage brokering to eBay, I took it personally when people didn't support me, especially those who were closer to me, who should have understood me better. I remember feeling like Jen didn't support me, my parents didn't support me, my sister thought I was an idiot. But only later I realized that they hoped that I would succeed. They always did. It's more that they didn't understand this thing called reselling, and therefore they couldn't support it because it was foreign to them. And once I proved myself, I actually had to find within me the grace to forgive them for not actually supporting it. Or at least for me not feeling like they supported it. So therefore, with starting YouTube, it was another foreign thing. We're seeing a bit of a pattern, introducing foreign things, hoping for support with no body of work. I then was very deliberate in not taking offense when people didn't support me, or when they questioned why it would work, why it adds value, what's the point of it all. You guys know what the point of it all is, those of you who've actually benefited from my existence. But there are a lot of people who were like, why do this? It takes up time, go sell more stuff instead. I was very careful to not take offense anymore, because I understood once the body of work is created, the support comes. And to always remember to assume that they support and they want me to succeed, not the other way around. And that's very hard, and that does take practice. So I suppose where this applies to you is, with each foreign step that you take, please have it in you, find the strength among us, those who understand what you're doing, to extend some grace to those close to you who don't get it, don't know how to get it, don't know how to support you, and You know, once you build up enough of a body of work, could be a series of sales, it could be a series of subscribers if social media is the thing that you're building, that hopefully they'll see that once they see fruit on the tree, they'll understand the point of the tree to begin with. But until then, hang out with us, hang out with the people who do understand, and don't harbor any resentment to those who don't understand, because the fact is people finding very hard to support things they don't understand. A very simple example is when you're asked to support a charity, you're shown the face of a starving child. If you don't relate, you don't support. You know, it's not that, does it make you a heartless person? No, you're caring. I would assume you want to help. But in order to reach out, to do something about a situation, to show care and support, there needs to still be some sort of, I relate. You know what I mean? So, yeah. For those of you who have people in your life who don't relate, and some who don't relate quite vocally, find your support with this community that does relate. Join the listing live streams and share with us the things that you find challenging. You'll be surprised how many of us have been through the same thing. Some more than once, or in my case, twice. So I'm curious to see how I pace in year 2. I'm very curious to see how I manage, I suppose, this workload now, because it is a lot of work doing YouTube. I've done my best to kind of merge things together, you know, live streams with listings so that I get my work done with this work done. And you guys have also seen the benefit of that and jumped on and gotten your listings done too. That just shows that the channel literally is causing productivity. If there's a way that we can even everyone stream in and show that we're listing, and that even ups the accountability even more, even better. All this to say, I didn't expect this channel to grow that quickly. It has. I didn't think I'd have a space. I found one. I didn't think that I'd have anybody listen to me, but now there's a community of us helping each other out. So it's all very cool. And to that end, this has been, I suppose, a very successful year in the context of what is that 10-year project of wanting to be an example for my kids as they grow up.